Hey you guys, it's Cayley, and I have not been on for a while. I have actually been on vacation for the last week and have just been trying to unplug. All the videos that you guys have been seeing have been pre-recorded, pre-edited, and pre-filmed, but I'm back. Kind of a mess today. Messy hair, no makeup on. You guys, I just know somebody is going to ask, so let me go ahead and get ahead of this. I do not have a black eye. I have hyperpigmentation and low iron, so that is why I have dark spots on my eyes. And just trying to show more of real life, but just got back from vacation and have done absolutely no cleaning or anything. And I'm, to be honest, like I said, have been unplugged, and I'm just now logging back into eBay, Poshmark, my reports, all of that, to see what has been going on for the last week. And pleasantly surprised, sales have been pretty good, so I am going to share those with you guys today. But wanted to share a little bit of my journey with you. Was feeling kind of burnt out, and like I said, kind of just unplugged for a while, and I am back. And I'm glad to see it that the team was able to keep everything afloat. And hopefully that vacation really helped. I did go thrifting on my vacation, but I will show you guys a thrift haul of that in the future. But I am back. Let's get into this what's sold video because I'm slightly behind and probably need to make multiple today to catch everyone back up. As always, I tried to choose brands or like categories that we don't talk about often. That way you guys have something new to look at and new things to look for. Let's dive in. Sales that you see here on the screen happen between June 11th through the 17th. That is a Sunday through a Saturday. That is how I calculate my weeks because that is how these platforms calculate their weeks, and it just makes it a lot more seamless to get all of the information. So that is how I created this report. I'm not going to go over everything, but for those of you that are just listening and not viewing the screen, my gross item sales were $6,035.06. And just a reminder that over the last couple of weeks, we have really been focusing on increasing our average sale price, because if I can do that, if I can pick up better quality items, then I technically don't have to list as much to meet my goals. And we also don't have to ship out as much to meet our goals. So I am trying to do that. And for those of you that say, you'll never find higher average sale price items in your area, I used to think the same thing, and it wasn't until I actually started looking for them that I found them. Now, to be fair, I drive at least an hour away from where I currently live to get to a good sourcing location, but I do that so that, again, I can list less items and ship out less items. So that is my current focus, and my current goal is to increase average sale price, and I think we're doing a pretty good job of that. I think over the next couple of months, you'll see this average sale price here on the screen increase a lot. I would like to get back to between $35 and $40 average item sale price. I was there at one point, but as we started increasing in volume, we focused on 5 into 25, and now I'm trying to focus on getting average sale price again closer to $40. And I think that's really going to make a big difference on what we are able to do with the staff we currently have. So that's where I'm at. Let's dive into the sales. This first one was definitely a really awesome average sale price. This is Alice and Olivia, which is a designer brand. If you guys are not familiar with this brand, I would definitely look it up. It does not have a 100% sell-through rate in everything, but if you're willing to wait longer than 90 days, usually it will bring a good average sale price. Or if you want to have a faster sale, then you could just price lower than everyone else. This one in particular was a special instance because we looked up the style. I think we did a Google Lens, and it was called the Kitty cardigan. This one was leopard print, and it seemed a bit more rare with this print. So wasn't really sure where to price on this because we had a more rare print. So we listed high and accepted best offer, listed around 165 or best offer just to let the market decide. Very quickly got a lot of attention. So I tried to hold off on a pretty decent offer. And after just about a week, I received an offer for $100, which I went ahead and accepted. Like I said, we did not know where to price this at. So when you price high and accept offers, you do need to be willing to let the market decide. And we originally paid $4.99 for this. So $5 into 100, you cannot beat that. Next up is another one that we priced high and accepted best offer on. This one I have had for quite some time. This is a really gorgeous vintage 1930s sweater. It was in really, really nice condition. It was called Hug Me Tight by Thurman. If you guys find one of these, I would absolutely get it. It's probably not going to sell quickly, but it's probably going to sell for a decent amount. And yeah, 1930 sweater. This is probably one of the coolest items in the best vintage condition that I have ever found. And I only paid $3.99 for it. It ended up being sold on an offer that I accepted for $70, which is a great return on investment. This was a risk I took at a thrift store and it definitely paid off. Next up is a brand that definitely has a 100% or higher sell-through rate, so I feel very confident picking it up. It is Vuori, Vuori. It is a fantastic athletic wear brand. I think personally it's like number one right now. I think it has surpassed Lululemon and Athleta because just about anything you pick up in this, men's or women's, is selling super quick right now. This is a bit more of a substantial piece. It is a pair of men's joggers. They were called the Ponto joggers. I paid $3.99 for these and they sold for my full asking price of $69.88. So 4 into 70, awesome profits. Next up is a golf wear brand that I do like picking up. This brand has definitely gone downhill in terms of how much you can get for an item, but still has a pretty decent sell-through rate. These are a pair of pants and they have a wicking material, and wanted to share this with you because any kind of wicking material in just about any brand is definitely going to increase value. So something to be on the lookout for. These were the EB66 wicking pants in a pretty decent size, 40 by 34. We paid $4.99 and it sold for our full asking price of $49.88. This is another athletic wear brand that has been performing really well. It is Built, BYLT. They have a certain kind of t-shirt. I think it's called the drop cut t-shirt. They go for about $20 to $25 all day long. But if you can find a more substantial piece, you're definitely looking at higher profits. This is a vest and it had a really great sell-through rate even though we are in the middle of summer. I paid $4.89 for this and it ended up selling for $40.43. It did have a little bit of wear, but I would absolutely all day long pick up Built vests again. Next up is a brand I've shown a lot, but I'll continue showing it for anybody new because it just has a fantastic sell-through rate. It is Lily Pulitzer. This is a woman's Adeline shift dress, just a really pretty striped dress. We paid just over $5 for it. It sold on an offer to Watcher for $38.15. So these are kind of pieces I think are going to hopefully become more of the norm for me as we try to move closer to a $40 average sale price. This is a jersey. It is a majestic Dodgers jersey. And jerseys, in my opinion, do take a little bit longer to sell, but can sometimes bring back good profits. I always look up the brand with the player and sometimes even the size because I find it can make a huge difference, especially brand. There are just certain brands and jerseys that perform well and ones that don't, higher quality, lower quality. But I do that in order to make a decision on whether to pick it up or not because I personally know nothing about sports and jerseys. So I just follow that rule to determine whether to pick it up or not. I paid $8.99 for this. It sold on an international sale through the eBay International Shipping Program for $38, which is an offer. Next up is one of my favorite bread and butter brands. This is J. Jill. This is their Love linen line, and this was a long sleeve maxi dress. The size tag was ripped off, but I could tell it was a plus size, so we just compared the measurements to their size chart and determined that this was a size 4X, 3X, and 4X in J. Jill. Anything above 3X, the higher you get in size in this brand, the better it sells and for the most money. So I really love picking up J. Jill in plus sizes. Sometimes they can honestly seem like a bolo depending on the piece you have because they sell so quickly and for quite a bit. This one I priced a little bit lower just because it was determined by a size chart, and we ended up selling it for a full asking price of $34.88, and we paid just over $5 for it. I think I have another example coming up once we get to the Poshmark items of a really good J. Jill plus size piece as well. This is another one of my favorite brands to sell, and one that I think is going to become more of the norm as I try to move closer to a $40 average sale price. This one also had sizing based on measurements. This is Elaine Fisher Woman, which is their plus size line, and it was an organic cotton cardigan. We determined that this was a 3X. Same thing with Elaine Fisher as with J. Jill. The larger the size you have, typically the higher sell-through rate and price. So very happy to receive this. I paid just over $5, and it did sell for our full asking price of $39.88. And right now, for anything at J. Jill that's kind of like a coastal color, beachy color, it's definitely performing the best as far as style goes. Next up is a cashmere piece. I'm still doing pretty well with cashmere, even though we are in the middle of summer, so that is some things that I'm looking for as well. Not every brand in cashmere, obviously, but certain ones. This one was called Lewitt, which appeared to be a pretty decent brand for cashmere. This was a size extra small cropped dolman sleeve sweater, and we paid just over $5. We ended up selling it for an offer of $34.37, so pretty good return on investment even in the dead of summer. Here's another cashmere piece, and this one ended up going through an international sale. We paid $4.99 and listed it for around $45. It sold on an offer to watcher pretty quickly for $38.15. Again, this is a piece that is going to be closer to an average $40 sale price, so cashmere can be a great thing to look for. And I've noticed with Catherine Malandrino, if you find some of the more luxury fabrics, they sell really, really well. So this duster cardigan is definitely going to be one of those. Next up is a designer brand. It is Lafayette 148. It definitely does not have a 100% sell-through rate and everything, but certain pieces can do well. This is another case where I could tell it was plus size, but it was determined by measurements. So sometimes there's a factor, that you're chasing after and you got to do a little bit of work. This would be the case with this. These were called the Stanton satin pants. We determined that they were a size 2X. Satin can be a fantastic material type to look for. Sometimes it's silk, sometimes it's other things. This one was acetate, but this like sheen to the item is satin, and I found that it can increase value. I paid just over $5 for this, and it sold for a full asking price of $34.88. And again, we priced slightly lower than market just because it was missing that tag, and I don't know, it can shake buyer confidence a little bit even if you do compare it to measurements. So just something to keep in mind. This is another designer brand. We actually showed this in the beginning of the video. Alice and Olivia, exact same thing. These are a size 10 pair of pants. That cardigan sold for $100. This is an example of something that does not sell for as much, but can bring good profits if you know where to price it. I paid $3.99. It sold for my full asking price of $34.88. Definitely could have priced maybe $50-$60 and waited a year for it to sell to get the most money, but I am more about the fast sales, so we priced in that area just to account for a sell-through rate. This is a surprising sale to me. I have talked to you guys a lot about brands that I'm experimenting with. They're more mall brands. This one is J. Crew, and J. Crew, The retail value of some of their pieces is extremely high, but they are quite oversaturated. It is a mall brand for the most part, and you got to know what to look for. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, because I come across it a lot, is what pieces that I am coming across are worth picking up. This one I paid just over $5 for. It is a women's cropped puff sleeve, like cable knit sweater. So definitely more of a substantial piece. It also was from summer 21, which is a good indicator that it might be a style worth getting if it was made within the last few years. So that is something that we're looking for in J. Crew. It ended up selling for my full asking price of $29.93. And yeah, J. Crew, like I said, a brand I come across all the time. So I want to know, I don't want to be passing on profitable items if it's pretty abundant. Next up and last one on eBay before we jump into Poshmark is a category that a lot of resellers skip on. It is like the sleepwear intimate section, but there can be a lot of really great pieces, particularly in the vintage category. This is a vintage pirouette women's like bustier bodysuit. And we picked this up for $4.89. It sold on an offer for $30. I have sold some vintage like bodysuits or robes for over $100 before. It just really depends on the brand and what they're made out of. But I would definitely keep your eye out for that, because some really great pieces and just not something a lot of resellers are looking for. All right, moving on to Poshmark. This is another J. Jill piece. This is also their Love Linen line. It is a smaller size, but again has that like beachy minimalist look, which is really popular right now. This is a button-up tunic top in white, which is, again, a very beachy coastal color right now. So despite the small size, I thought that this had enough factors going for it that it would do well. I paid $4.99 and we sold it for $34 on Poshmark. This is more of a bread and butter. This is bonobos, and not everything bonobos flips very quickly or for a lot, but I've noticed that their men's button-up printed shirts seem to perform the best, and I can usually get about $25 to $30 for them. This is a parrot bird print, and it sold for $25 on Poshmark. I paid just over $5. This is also a bread and butter item. They are Knox Rose dresses, especially the midi to maxi length dresses, or the larger sizes perform really well. This one was just a knee length, but it was a size large, and it was chambray. We paid $4.99. It sold for $25. This is one of my favorite lines to find in jeans. It is the Levi's wedgie style, and sometimes they're just wedgie, sometimes they're wedgie straight, and both perform extremely well for me. If I see wedgie or rib cage in a style, I always get it. These ones were a size 27 button fly, and they were the color black, which seemed, based on my research, to be harder to find. So there's a lot of like blue jean one, but the black jeans are not as abundant. So I priced mine a little bit higher because of that. If you do a comp on Levi's wedgie jeans on eBay, there is not a 100% sell-through rate, but I have a lot of experience selling these, and they always flip pretty quickly and for good money for me, so I continue picking them up. I paid $8.99 for these. We listed for around $55 on Poshmark, and they sold on an offer very quickly for $46 on Poshmark. So great return on investment. Again, this will become hopefully more of the kind of items that I'm able to find and pick up. Next up, this is pretty apparent sale, but again, if you're someone who skips the shorts section like I used to do, this is something you can look for. It is a Lululemon women's shorts. These I found actually new with tags, size 12. Can't pass up new with tags Lululemons. I just can't do it. I paid $4.99. They sold for $38. I actually sold quite a bit of Y2K items this week, and I pulled a couple to show you guys because I saw some consistencies in the sales, and Y2K jeans or Y2K flare pants were performing extremely well. So I pulled a few of those to show you guys today. This is an LEI women's vintage Y2K junior size 9 multicolor stripe flare pants. I know that was a lot, but those are all the keywords that we used. Let's see. We paid $6.99 for them. They sold on an offer on Poshmark for $49, which is a fantastic return on investment. Definitely a Y2K item that you guys could be on the lookout for. This continues to be a really great bread and butter for us. They are figs scrubs. I continue to show you these because a lot of people are saying that they're not performing well, but I sell them every single week in multiple sizes and multiple styles for like average sale price of $25. So I continue to show you them just because they are such a great bread and butter, and scrubs is another category that a lot of resellers pass on. They're really, really easy to find if you've got them in your area. We paid just over $5. They sold for $29 on Poshmark. This is another Vuori piece, and I just kind of wanted to show you what the shirts were going for. And if you look at this item, you can tell the tag is not right here. So you might not even know that it's Vuori, but if it feels like a super high quality athletic wear piece, to be on the lookout for a little label somewhere, or possibly like this one, or possibly even the material tag on the inside. This was like the material tag with an extra button to determine what it is, but I bet there are a lot of people who are passing on this just because they don't see the brand label right here, but there's other indicators that could help you figure out what it is. So this is a Vuori men's button-down shirt. It sold very quickly on an offer for $31. We paid just over $5. All right, this is another category I have really been on the hunt for. I think I've talked about it in several What Sold videos and also thrift hauls lately. They are linen blazers or linen blend blazers. If you're not in the blazers category, which again is another category that resellers don't often go to, one thing you could look for is a linen blazer. They're very easy to identify and they are very popular right now. I think in just about every brand, the sell-through rate of a linen blazer is very high, and the average sale price is also very high. So this is a Brooks Brothers, which is in blazers a pretty decent brand to look for. Vintage label men's linen button blazer. We paid just over $5 for this. It sold for $50. Again, great average sale price. Here's another Y2K item. These are mud vintage Y2K lace-up jeans. Again, junior sizing, size 13, but they have the flare leg and the lace-up front. So really awesome return on investment for this as well. I paid just over $5. It sold for $45 on Poshmark. Here's another great like beachy linen brand to look for. It is Flax, and linen is just so easy to spot. If you like fly down the tops section, which is usually what I do, I'm only looking for a few things, which is like linen, silk, or a bright multicolor print. Outside of that, there aren't many brands that fit my business model, and so it makes it really easy to go through a section if you know that those are the only few things you're looking for in a category. And this, would be one of those pieces that would be easy to spot because it's linen. So this is Flax. I pick up pretty much everything Flax linen, but especially the plus size, just like those other brands we talked about, the larger the size, the faster the sale, the more you're going to get. So size 2X Flax oversized linen tunic. We paid just over $5 for this, and it sold for $40 on Poshmark. Here is another kind of beachy brand to be on the lookout for. It is Fairty. This is an organic cotton kind of gauzy looking top. This brand has a very high retail value, not always the best sell-through rate, but one that I'm willing to pick up just because it does bring back a lot of money. I paid just over $5 for this. It sold for an offer of $35. Here is another J-Gel plus size piece. This one actually does have the tag. It is a 4X women's floral top. And again, these can become kind of a bolo if you've got a larger plus size just because they do bring in quite a bit of money and they flip so quickly. I paid $5 for this. It sold for $35 on Poshmark and was a super quick flip. This is an example of a jeanswear brand that doesn't normally perform well, but if you can find it in a larger size, can perform well. This is Vegas. They are known for their like thick stitching, higher quality jeans. This was called the Heritage Fit Bootcut jean, and it was a size 22, which is a plus size. The plus size in most styles of this brand performs really well with a good sell-through rate, so I've now adopted this brand into pairs of jeans that I'm looking for, but only if it is plus size. I paid $4.50 for this, and it sold for $29 pretty quickly on Poshmark. Okay, Joe actually found this one. This is a G4, which is a golf wear brand, a really great golf wear brand to be on the lookout for. They make polos and pants and shorts, which is usually what I find, but he actually found this hat. It is a skull print visor hat, and the hats are also performing really well. Here's the logo for you. And this one, I think we listed for $40 on Poshmark. It sold very quickly. I accepted an offer of $30. We paid $3.99 for it. Next up is a soft surroundings piece. This is definitely a smaller size. I tried to stick to the larger sizes, but this was all over lace and it was new with tags, which is the reason that I got it. I paid $2.99. We listed for around $55 on Poshmark. It sold very quickly for an offer of $45. Next up is an Anthropologie piece, and this is just a category I didn't really know existed in Anthropologie, which are robes. Just never thought about it. Again, if you're not somebody going to the sleepwear section, this would be a piece that you would miss. We paid $4.99 for this. Jordan actually found this one, and it is a very gorgeous robe, floral quilted robe by Anthropologie. And they have a really fantastic sell-through rate. Some of them go for much more, but this was still a pretty decent sale. We like I said, paid about $5 for it, and it sold on an offer very quickly for $60 on Poshmark, which is an amazing return on investment. And lastly is more of a bread and butter brand to look for, but a super high sell-through rate one. It is Coolabar, and they are known for their sun protection. So if you see UPF on anything, usually a good indicator of a brand people are looking for right now, just because we are in summer. We paid $4.99 for these. They sold very quickly at $25, and this brand continues to be a good quick selling brand for us. Alright guys, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. Like I said, I'll be back on making a bunch of new videos, but just wanted to give you guys an update as to where I am at. And if anybody is feeling burnt out, you need to take some time off, even if it's just for like a weekend, and just completely unplug. But that is all I have for you guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.